I wanted to quickly address that last question in the lesson, which refers to Romans chapter 9. Again, I don't want us to take some of these scriptures for granted. Romans is written in the first century AD. We're talking about 13 to 1500 years after the story of Pharaoh and the Exodus. Again, we take it for granted that all of these books are neatly in a singular Bible, but things like this is indirect proof to me that the Bible is a very, very unique, special book that is divinely inspired. The fact that 1500 years can pass and Paul is writing about something that happened in the book of Exodus, that's incredibly amazing if you compare the Bible to other works that have been found in history. So we see that there's a divine theme, a divine author that connects all of these books together. And Pharaoh, the Bible tells us in Romans chapter 9 that God raised him up for dishonor. You know, what's interesting is when you read through the book of Exodus, there are some verses that say God hardened Pharaoh's heart, and then there are other verses that say that Pharaoh hardened his own heart. And I don't see a contradiction here. I see that these verses work in similitude. I see that they work in consistency. If you look at Exodus chapter 8, verse 32, versus Exodus chapter 9, verse 12, one verse says God hardened his heart. The other says that Pharaoh hardened his own heart. I want us to look in nature and science to see that God allows principles of science and nature to reflect some theological truths. The same sun that will melt wax will harden clay. The same sun, the same properties, but what's different is the recipients that receive in the light. It's the same thing when it comes to us. There are some people, when we see the works of God, we see the miracles of God, we read the scriptures, there are some people, they're going to harden their hearts and turn away. There are others that are going to be more malleable and pliable and bent to his will. Water, when you give water to plants, it nourishes them and it allows plants to grow. The same water, when you put it on rocks for an extensive amount of time, the rock erodes. Fire, the same fire that will cook food wonderfully, the same fire will burn your flesh. So we see that what is different is the recipient. All right, God is the same God, but how do we react to his word? How do we react to his messaging? How do we react to his will? That's what's different. So Pharaoh, he had the opportunity to be able to repent and submit to God, but he chose to be very, very rigid and obstinate and rebellious. So the vessels that God raised to honor and dishonor, it truly is in his own power and sovereignty, but at the same time, it is up to us whether or not we want to accept this call or reject it.